What's good, traders? It's your host, Woodz. And today on NOFOMO, we're locked in with a true marksman in the game. He's not just a disciplined ICT trader, he's a father, a family man, and one of the closest friends that I've had in the trading industry over the past 5 years. This is more than trading. It's about freedom, legacy, and staying locked in on purpose. Let's welcome the Haitian Sniper. What is happening, guys? It is Woodz, and we are back with another episode of the NOFOMO podcast, man. And today we have a good friend, a good guy that I've been following for quite some time, and Haitian Sniper. What is happening, Dave?
Day, what's happening, man? I appreciate you for having me. It is good to be here on another episode. This is episode 2. I think you've had me on here. So, gratitude, brother. And I just want to start by saying I am very proud of you, brother, for just been watching you as well on your journey as a trader and just the content that you've been producing. And I'm just proud of you, man. This is not an easy thing, but you stuck through it and you're living out your dreams, man, and your passions. So I love that for you.
Hey, man, the feeling is mutual, man. I know that you are a family guy and you're raising those beautiful kids, man. And hey, that is something I love to see. It is very inspiring.
I appreciate that, brother.
So, man, let's get into it, man. I wanted to get into talking to you about your journey, how you've come to be, your personal motivations, all that. So, how did you first get into day trading, and what inspired you to pursue it seriously?
Yeah, man, it's kind of funny. I have a buddy, he's out in California. His name is Michael. And I remember it was back, circa 2016, I want to say 2017. And he hit me up one day and he said, "Hey, man, have you heard of Forex?" I had not heard of Forex. And, he kind of just gave me the high level, overview of it and everything like that.
Mm.
And honestly, I thought it was a scam. So I was like, no, I'm good. Cause he was with ML, he was with IML. What is going on with this? He was with
The
IML
IML
and,
days.
right, the IML days. And so I was like, yeah, man, sounds kind of like a scam. So I'm good. And so I just kind of put it to bed. But then like a month later, he hit me up and he was telling me. So he showed me. He actually gave me a screenshot that he had made $1,000 in a couple hours that day.
Mm.
And so I was
Quick
like,
man, light work.
yeah, exactly, like work. And so I was like, huh, I guess it's not a scam. I guess it really does work. And so the rest is history. Got started with IML, and here we are. Guess what?
Man.
Yeah.
So tell me, what were some of your biggest challenges that you faced early in your trading career?
Yeah, I would say early in my trading career would be the typical challenges that everybody faces. We're greedy. We don't know what we're doing, but we act like we know what we're doing.
Yep. Yep.
We got fear of missing out. So when the move started and it's already too late, we're gonna buy it anyway.
Chasing. Yep.
you know, um, and so and also for me, it was also I started out learning all the wrong things. What is
Mm.
going on? I need to mute this real quick. You don't have to cut this out. Let me mute this.
All good.
One second. Can you pause it real quick?
Yeah. It's all good. I
All these
cut it out and
notifications
edited it.
coming in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on do not disturb. I'm just turning this thing off. I don't need it on right now. Okay.
For
I'm
sure.
just gonna start out where yeah, see now everybody wants to hit me up. Now they're awake.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I'm just gonna start at the part where I was saying I was looking at the wrong things.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, honestly, for me, something that also made it so challenging for me was I had learned a lot of bad things in trading,
Mm-hmm.
and again, not that there's a right and a wrong way to trade,
Mm-hmm.
is not saying that, but I had learned all the retail ways of trading, and basically, I was the liquidity,
Hmm.
is what I was
Right, right.
for the actual smart money traders out there. And so it was when I got a mentor in ICT, the inner circle trader. His name is Michael J. Huddleston. He, I mean, a lot of people, including himself, term him the founder of smart money concepts. So whenever you hear that, that's who I'm referring to.
Hmm.
And I started learning his ways, and it was very uncomfortable and proved yet another challenge because his way of trading is it goes opposite of what we're wired to do.
Mm.
Right? When we see a huge rally, we want to, to the upside, we want to buy that. He says, no, when you see that, you're selling it, you're fading it.
Mm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? And so learning to trade with him, I still had challenges because, I'm human, and I still do. But that was kind of when I started to notice that I was able to read the market better. My entries were better. The Haitian Sniper was born, and but yeah, overcoming those early challenges of learning the wrong things, and as well as just letting go of all that greed and fear and all that crap.
Man, so like I know that ICT is a big part of your trading and smart money concepts. So can you describe a major turning point in your trading journey? When did things start clicking for you? Was it when you were introduced to ICT?
Oh, most definitely.
Hmm.
Yes. So definitely when I was introduced to ICT, things definitely I did notice things
Hmm.
change drastically for me. Now, like I was just saying, my entries were better. I spent a lot less time in drawdown. Yeah, you've heard of those order blocks and liquidity
Hmm.
and imbalances. Yeah, my drawdown changed drastically, and so because I was part of the challenge too, is you get in these trades and you'd be in drawdown for like 3-4 hours
Hmm.
because you're entering too early, and so ICT really, really helped me to hone in on my entries so that I could just set it and forget it and let the market do its thing and not have to, sleep with one eye open because I was afraid of my stop loss getting hit. And that's something different too nowadays. If my stop loss gets hit, it's whatever because now I actually use risk management. That was another challenge was I was not using sound risk management.
Hmm.
I would win. So I'd risk 1%, and I have a big win. Now I'd be risking 4 or 5%, and I have
Right.
another win. Now I'm risking 10%. you know and so that's not how it works in this game. You got to be consistent.
Right.
And so yeah, definitely ICT definitely opened my eyes to just see the market in a different way, in a more efficient way, and become a more efficient trader. Nowadays I do less with all the tools I've been given. I do way less. My analysis is less now. I'm always learning,
Hmm.
but I'm not changing things, right?
Right.
I can
Right.
still learn to see how I can complement my trading, but I'm not changing things. I have my strategy. It's sound. I just need to be sound mentally,
Hmm. Hmm.
to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do and execute the trades that I'm supposed to at the end of the day.
And one thing I admire about you, man, is we're both similar. You have a whole wife and kids, man. So it's a challenge to be able to balance this life of trading. How do you balance trading with your personal life, especially now with the family and added pressure of volatile markets?
Yeah, man. So my wife and I, we have 5 children,
Hmm.
and to be honest with you, it's still a challenge for me to
Right.
this day to
Right.
balance this. This is something that I've been trying to figure out, and I've actually had to take a different approach.
Right.
In the beginning, I was very prideful, and I wanted to be the guy that is sitting behind the desk. I want to have that. I wanted to have a MAM account or a PAM account, and I got all these accounts connected. I'm doing 20+% a month, and when people ask, hey man, how are you doing this? Oh, it's me. You're looking at them, kind of thing, and just very prideful. But
Right.
And so for me, it's really, especially because we have older kids,
Right.
but we have a 7 year gap, and then now we have two younger kids,
Mm.
and so she'll be the baby will be 2 in June, and then 5 in December on Christmas will be her sister. So those are the two younger. And so when I tell you, man, for the last 5 years, almost 5 years, I'll be trying to put in a trade and my phone will get smacked out of my hand. The real life stuff,
Right.
and uh or just whatever the case may be, or my daughter will just she'll just hit buy and sell for me, like, you know.
Right.
And so it's been very challenging to just find a time and space where I can focus on the markets,
Hmm.
which is me in the markets. I execute my trades. We even tried with my wife, because she supports me in
Hmm.
this endeavor. And, I said, okay, so what if, I could have from like 8:15 until like, like 10 o'clock. That's my trading hour. But my wife, she works nights
Hmm.
mostly. And so sometimes, she's in hospitality.
Yeah.
And so sometimes she will not get home until like super late. And so then for me to wake her up in the morning, I kind of feel like, yeah, let me just let her get her rest.
Right. Right.
So because she was out late. And so that did not work. And so I've actually had to completely change my tune to how I trade. And nowadays I'm taking a page out of our good friend, uh Carl David. What's up,
Hmm.
my brother? Love you.
Hmm.
And I'm actually switching to a more of a hybrid form of trading.
Ah, yeah.
And then so I have three phases essentially. Phase one is just an indicator that sends alerts to Discord, and then phase two will be a trade manager, and then phase three will be a fully autonomous uh trading software. But phase one is just all it does is just I notice this tendency in the market
Hmm.
typically before a big move. And what this indicator does is actually it's going to scan the market for me,
Hmm.
and it will only send me indicators when all criteria is met
Mm.
for this phenomenon, right?
Nice. Nice.
And all I have to do is hit buy or sell. And so whatever it tells me to do, that's what I do. So I do my analysis pre-hand. So let's just say I'm super busy and I can't. Now, obviously I don't want to just be like, oh, it told me to buy, I'll buy. It told me to sell. So I want it to be that, to be that great. But I'm one of the people I need to know what's going on. And so
Hmm.
even when I used to do signal services, like where I used to take signals from people, I always had to pull up my chart and be like, okay, is this, a good trade or a bad trade? And so for me now, it's just mostly going to be doing my analysis, 30 minutes a day, you know, just kind of see, because I do my analysis on the higher time frame. And so
Man.
weekly and daily. And when I get an alert, I just look at it. Okay, is there liquidity? Okay, if I'm going to sell, it says me to sell. Is there sell side liquidity? This looks like a good trade. Okay, I'll take it. And I mean, that's basically all I have to do now. So there's no more me scanning the market. I don't have to watch the charts and wait for this to happen. And it's just get an alert, send it.
Solid. Solid.
That's it.
And like with you, man, I know that you take pride in your Haitian heritage, man, and I love that so much. As a Haitian American trader, do you feel the sense of responsibility or pride in representing your culture in the trading world? How does that show up in your work or mindset?
Most definitely. I kind of think of it because when you look at my home country, Haiti, you don't really. I mean, it's got very beautiful parts, and it used to be wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Before the
Right.
whole thing happened with the French and everything like that. I
Right.
think we're still paying them money. Um,
Right.
but you don't really you don't really use the word wealth to describe our country and the people of our country. I mean,
Right.
there's some, but it's far and few from what I've gleaned over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think it's amazing I'm in a position to kind of change the narrative, and even with what I'm building right now, how good would that be if this is a tool that I could go, back to my country and people can actually use this? You don't have to know anything about trading, but here's a tool for you to actually become, so where you don't have to work on market every day. My
Right.
parents, they worked on market. I was one of three, and so they had to work on market every day. And it's not like, the people in Haiti are making 50K a year,
Right.
which would be, you'd be okay here making that. I mean, nowadays everything's way more expensive, but yeah, they're literally making a couple $1,000s a year,
Right. Right.
right? And so for me to, so A, it's like I kind of have this chip on my shoulder as a trader to be one that kind of changes the stigma. But then also it's like it motivates me to be able to kind of give uh everybody, but especially, my folks, an ability to generate an income where now you're not making, a couple $1,000s a year. Maybe you can even be making $20,000 a year,
Right. Right.
like that's rich in Haiti.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For real.
And so just being able to be put in a position to have the ability to do that, um, it's something that I need to steward well. And yeah, it's something I take very seriously. And so it definitely inspires me to get this thing all figured out for me, for my family, and for the culture.
Mm. And that leads me to ask you, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Like, not as just a trader, but as a man, a father, and a husband.
My wife and I, we talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And really the legacy is I want my kids to know about money, that money's not a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
and how to be responsible with money, but also to live life kind of on your own terms.
Mm.
What do you want life to look like? Paint a picture and go do that, whether it's with trading or with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But just being an example, we want our family to be an example of what that looks like. I mentioned to you earlier was, my wife and I, we want to travel the world with our two younger ones, and then the older kids, they're going to be in college because there's such a gap.
Mm-hmm.
But if the younger ones are learning about Greece, you bet we're going to be booking a flight to Greece so we can learn about the culture.
Mm.
And oh, let me hit up their older siblings. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to Greece for 2 weeks. Y'all in or not? That's the kind of life, because not everybody can do that.
Right.
And
Right.
so I don't want to. Basically, it's just I want to have flexibility. Now we still have to work.
Right.
This is not just you know just to just not work and just expect to make money, but we're always gonna have to be working. But let's do something that we enjoy, something that we're passionate about, and let's get out here and travel the world and see the world, and and then this sets the foundation for the generations to be able to do that,
Real spill.
right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about money, but money is it's a tool, it's
Right.
a resource. And so the ability to do this and have it echo for the generations, because we were able to steward this well, that's kind of the legacy. And then
Right.
life just looks way different for us than it does for most people. It looks like most people dream they could do, but they just don't have the tool nor the ability to make that life into a reality.
That's real. And like, let me ask you, if your kids decide to follow in your footsteps, what's the first lesson you teach them about money and discipline?
Ooh, that's good. The first step I would say is, honestly, it's understanding that money is not a bad thing,
Right.
right? And because I kind of grew up where I just heard that a lot, that money is not a bad thing, but you can do so much with money.
Mm-hmm. It's a
And
tool.
definitely just give them the ability to have an open hand,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that we're blessed to be a blessing.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, my wife and I would talk about it. It's we get these blessings, like we get money so that we can help other people. And oh, by the way, you can live a pretty good life too. So just because in this niche, the amount of money that you can make, it's not like a little bit of money,
Mm.
but really being just getting them to the point where they can not fumble the bag
Right.
with this, because it's a big, because like how many times do you see, you know kids that grew up like on Disney Channel or whatever, Nickelodeon, and they get all this money, they don't know how to act.
Right.
Right. So first, I need you to understand, like, I need you to act like you've been here before. You've seen money,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you know how to manage it. Because without management, none of this, the legacy's not going to be there because they might blow through it. So that's why, on the back end, I'm actually starting. Well, I've been in it, but I'm really about to fully launch a financial service company.
Nice.
Financial service company. So for me, it's going to be retirement, teaching people how to retire tax free. I'm getting all these licenses and getting a CDAA certificate. So that's a certified digital asset advisor, because people need to learn about money and how to save money and invest money and protect their money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's a bunch of different phases, but really for them, it's learning how to steward it, how to invest it, how to protect it, and then just how to spend it well and help other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they need to learn.
Man. So like, let's go into your trading strategies and your practices, because I know you've been doing this for a while, and I want to pick your brain on how your strategies work. What is your primary trading strategy? Like, how did you develop it?
Right. So my mentor ICT, he has a saying, it's called a turtle soup. And essentially it's just liquidity being grabbed in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Because and this is something I like to say, is the market is a slave to liquidity. The
Mm-hmm.
market will not move without liquidity. If you want to be a seller, unless somebody is buying from you, you are not going to enter that trade. It's not going to happen. And so that is the backbone of my strategy, is having liquidity. When liquidity is taken, the market goes the opposite way. Right? So that's why we never sell tops and we never buy tops and we never sell bottoms. Right? Because it's a zero sum game.
Right.
There's always going to be a loser.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a loser.
In order for the market to buy, they have to sell. In order for them to sell, they have to buy.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a swapping of orders.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so it's just liquidity, and then market structure. I mean, that's basically it. So I have an option of entering once that liquidity is grabbed. I can either do it right then and there using a specific entry method and very strict criteria that I look for in the market. And if I'm busy and I miss it, then I look at the market structure, right? It's just once my market structure happens, and this is where I was telling you where I learned bad things that I had to overcome. So now the market structure breaks. It could be the 15-minute, it could be typically I look for my entries on the M5 through the H1, nothing higher. Once that market structure breaks, you have volatility in the market. So then I use news. So liquidity, news, and market structure, right? You have that market structure break, whether it's be the M5, M15, 30 minutes sometimes. And now that volatility kicks in and it's telling you to buy it. So let's say you had buy side liquidity taken, and now you missed it, but you had a M15 market structure break. So now when that market structure break happens and seemingly price looks like it wants to start to push up with the news, because the momentum now is to the buy side, we're going to sell it, right? Because the order flow is now bearish because of the liquidity that was taken on the buy side. Right. So just understanding that, it always going to keep you in line with the market most of the time. Sometimes, it gets a little funky, but nothing's perfect. So
Huh.
it's simple. It's I got a lot of knowledge from ICT, but we're building a vehicle and we don't need all the things. Like
Right.
for me, if I'm building my vehicle, I need a third row because I got all these kids. I need some TVs in there.
Mm-hmm.
I like leather because it likes to spill stuff. I need something that's gonna, that's gonna get wiped up nice and easy. You know what I'm talking about. You got
Right.
kids,
Right.
and so but I don't have to have everything.
So
So
like,
keep less is more.
so tell me, because everybody does this different with risk management. How do you
Mhm.
approach risk management in your trades? Do you have a specific system for cutting your losses?
Uh, so risk management, decide a decide a percentage that you want to lose and
Mm-hmm.
stick with it.
Right.
Right. That's it. That's the risk management. Because
Mm.
I was telling you earlier is I used to get in a trade. I hit a big home run and my risk was 1%. Now my risk is 5%.
Mm.
Ooh, I hit another big one. Ooh, now my risk is 10%.
Right.
And then now, boom, I'm back to break even because I changed my risk. So there's ways where you can change your risk, but it's not on a short term thing. It's like, okay, I have this account that I'm trading and it's 100K funded account. Okay, my risk is 1%. Now it's at 120%, 120K. Now you want to open it up to 4%. No, maybe let's grow it up to another 100,000. Now we'll have 200,000 leverage. Now, if you want, you can do 2%, but why?
Mm. Right.
Less is more. Let's not be greedy.
Right.
Right. So if you want to do 1%, just have that be your staple percentage, right? And don't change it. That's the biggest thing I had to overcome. That's the thing that's helped me out tremendously. Is it doesn't matter win or lose. My risk is my risk. It does not change. Right. We risk 1%. We try to get 3% reward.
Mm.
That way you have longevity and you're not this break even trader where you win one, you lose one. You win one, you lose one. Because for every one to three risk to reward that I win, I have three chances to lose to be break even.
Mm-hmm.
You're 1-1, you have one chance to lose, and you're back to break even, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
so, and then there was a second part to that, um, but I totally drew a blank.
Oh, good. So like, let me ask you, can you walk us through your daily trade routine? Like, what does a typical trading day look like for the Haitian Sniper?
Yeah, sure. So I always reference my forex factory
Mm-hmm.
first thing in the morning, and um, and basically I just kind of look at wherever the liquidity, if the volatility is going to be injected into the market, that's when I'll be paying attention. And so basically it's, well, actually I lied. First things first is I just kind of wake up in the morning, look at the market and see what we had done. And again, I look in areas in the market where liquidity was flushed out overnight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I see those are my areas of interest. And then I reference my Forex Factory for news.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see news for that day, I start to look at, okay, what are some areas where the market might be reaching for and how can I get an entry? Okay. Because
Mm.
again, it's liquidity. So if the liquidity has already been taken and I see volatility, then I already know that news is going to be used for my advantage.
Mm.
And a lot of times it'll be, I'm not trading in line with the news. I'm actually going to be fading the news. Right.
Mm.
Like, oh
Right.
my gosh, this GU trade this week was freaking phenomenal. Overnight, man, the thing just ran up like I don't know how many pips, probably like 150 pips or so. And I was out with my wife and my girls. We were doing this kid play place thing, and I just seen that, and I got my cue. I took a sell.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when I tell you that thing just dumped for the next 3 days, it just dumped for like it was crazy. But I already had seen what the liquidity was, and there was news for GBP, and that was what grabbed liquidity, and then there was U.S. news that came after that, and so it was a wrap. We already knew what to do.
Wow.
Hmm.
And like, man, I got to get you on futures, bro.
Well, actually, with with our community that we're building, we are going to be doing futures. So it's
Nice.
forex futures, and we're probably going to do indices and crypto eventually. But yeah, I actually have a futures buddy. Yeah, I think you're really going to like this tool, man. I'll definitely keep you and stay in touch and kind of just let you know when it's ready because I
Cool,
think you're
cool.
gonna really love it because it's gonna. I mean, you already know what to do. You already know how to analyze and everything like that. You're literally gonna have something that just finds trades for you, and you decide if you want to take it or not, and then you
Nice.
build your other things.
So like you described to us basically how you enter a trade, but how do you exit a trade, and what indicators or signals do you rely on the most?
Yeah, that is a very important aspect as well. So for me, my exits again, it's a higher time frame. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm entering on the H1, I'll be looking for the H4 and the daily to kind of look at areas of getting out. So the areas that I look at, I'll be looking at order blocks. So if I take a short on the H1, I'll be starting scaling out maybe on the H4 order block below the market, right? Wherever those are, because there's going to be a reaction there. And then I also use this thing called low resistance liquidity, where essentially it's equal highs, equal lows. Um, I'll be looking for those as targets as well. Previous weekly highs, previous weekly lows. So if I am, so if I see price run up and take the previous weekly high at the beginning of the week, I'll be looking at like 50% of that range.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. And then sometimes it'll even trade down to the previous weekly low if it's truly bullish,
Uh-huh.
right? And so those are some areas. It's always just looking at where can the market pair orders,
Uh-huh.
right? So we compare at order blocks, fair price imbalances. So those are exits, previous daily highs, previous daily lows, daily opens. If I have a short-term trade and I'm short on the 15 minute and the daily open and I'm bullish overall, you know, and we look at the daily open, price likely can accumulate off of that and continue bullish. So we always have to kind of have our head on a swivel
Mm-hmm.
and understand these levels of liquidity where they like to load and unload their positions. So and market structure has a lot to do with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if we break the daily market structure, once we get down, if we broke it up on the buy side on the daily market structure, once I get around to the 62%, I'm starting to scale out. If I took the correction, I'm gonna start to scale out. But mainly, it just kind of I do short term trading.
Right.
So I usually my trades aren't more than 2 to 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
but every once in a while they'll be a little bit longer. But for me, it's just mostly looking at the shorter time frames because if you just make 5 grand for a week, be
Right.
happy with that.
Right.
100,000 account, be happy with that. You don't need to make 20. Dude, make 5 grand 4 times and is your 20. you know. So yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. It's a myriad of things. Again, it's just liquidity, understanding low resistance liquidity, understanding where your weekly highs and lows are, where your daily highs and lows are, where your market structures, where your order blocks. Because unless it's like a big news movement,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have a reaction at that H4 order block, and
Mm-hmm.
so for you to be up 10 grand and then now you're down to 3 grand because you thought you're gonna trade through that order block, which is not always gonna be the case. So you have to be mindful of that. Even if you exit half,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're up 10, exit 50%, you take five home, and then now you got five in the market. It may go your way, it may not.
And that's a lot of support to handle the emotional and psychological aspect of things. And that makes me want to touch on what role does emotional control play in your trading? Like, how do you manage stress and anxiety during losing streaks?
Oh wow, yeah, that's good. Sometimes you just have to understand when to quit.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's for me. It's okay. I have two tries at a POI to get into my trade because that's what I typically notice when with the this phenomenon that I'm getting coded is if it doesn't happen the first time, it'll happen the second time. If you
Huh.
miss it the second time, you got the wrong thing,
Mm,
right? Just forget it.
right.
So that kind of helps with that whole like inner battle of yourself. Like, should I keep trading? Should I? No, you need to have a hard set rule and principle that you follow. I get two tries. Try number one, I lost. Try number two, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you just wait for the next session, wait for the daily to close. And then that'll give you kind of an idea of what price is doing. So if you were bullish and you got stopped out twice and the next candle closes higher high, higher close from the previous day, you're still bullish. So let's look for a price um to reach below the open, buy below the open, and then continue bullish the next day to your uh to your level of liquidity that you predetermine.
Mm,
All right. So it doesn't have to be like this whole inner battle. It's just you have to understand because it's gonna help you to just manage it better because now you're not so stressed out. Like, oh my gosh, I've taken like 7 L's and I just don't know what to do.
mm-hmm.
That's not even get to that point. Easier said than done. I mean, I still struggle with it sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, this trade looks so good. But you just have to, as I say, sit on your hands. You got to play some defense.
Right,
Trading is not all
right.
about offense. You have to play defense. Also, you have to protect your capital.
Yeah.
And so, two strikes and you're out. Growing up, my dad used to tell my brother and I, we got three strikes and we're out. If you need to use three strikes, use three strikes and you out for the day. But I'm good with two strikes.
It like, man, you come off as a guy that does not lose. You know what I'm saying? You're just naturally a winner. So, like, tell me, have you ever experienced significant losses? How do you
Oh,
mentally recover and adjust? What's your approach?
oh, we lose. We all lose. And if you
Right,
don't lose, you lying.
right, right. It's a part of the game.
That's it. So I'll tell you a funny story. One of my worst losses was when I was with IML.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot, man, I had like $1,000 in this account. Big money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
Shit, that is
remember,
big when you starting out, especially
I'll
when you
tell
with
you, man.
IML, man.
Yeah, I had started with like, 500 some dollars. I think we grew it to 1,000. Now I was like, remember that thing I told you about don't change your risk? This ain't
Right.
mine. And so, yeah, now I'm sitting at 1,000 in the account. And I seen this huge candle. It was I think it was like GBP JPY or USD JPY, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
They're both dead to me right now. So I saw this huge news candle. And again, this is where I tell you, you have to get uncomfortable and do what is against human nature. So I seen this big old candle, man. And I was like, oh, it was a news push. The news just came out. I said, man, I need to buy that. Boy, I threw like two standards on that mug on $1,000 account.
Golly.
And so, dude, I start out right away. I'm up like 500. Yes. I'm
Swinging
up
for
like
the
a
fences.
thousand. What was that?
Swinging for the fences.
Swinging for the fences. I'm up like 2,000. I'm like, oh, yes. Like, this is it. And dude, that's like the most money I'd seen in trading. And this was like literally the first 6 months, whatever, of me trading. And I'm watching that thing. And then within like 20 minutes, we weren't up 2,000 anymore. Now we're down to, you know, 800, uh-oh, 400, uh-oh, 0, uh-oh, negative 200, uh-oh, negative 100. And man, we were doing this thing for like over an hour. My phone's battery was like critical.
Oh man.
So now I'm like in drawdown and my phone's dying. So I had to go sit in my car and charge my phone because the power was out at the house.
Oh man.
Yeah, the power ran out at the house. So I'm in my car charging my phone, and before I know it, man, I'm down like $800 on $1,000 account. I finally pulled the plug. I lost like, man, I had 1,000. I lost like 975. And so,
Golly.
and so that's one example of doing the wrong thing
Right.
and paying and paying the price and not having any sort of risk management or any rules. It's just like I just like you said, well, I was just swinging for the fences trying to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you always have to have a protocol, and but you can overcome this. Reload the account and learn from your mistakes.
Right.
At
Right.
the end of the day, learn from your mistakes. There's a reason why I don't risk more than 1% anymore.
Mm-hmm. Because of
You
things
know,
like that.
just things like that.
Them life lessons.
Those life lessons, man. I'll tell you.
So tell me, how do you stay disciplined and sticking to your trading plan, especially when the markets are unpredictable, like we got today with Orange Man?
I mean, gosh, yeah, that guy. Um, I say discipline because I have to. There's no other option.
Right.
Not being disciplined is not an option.
That's the
And
realest
so,
answer, man. For
yeah,
real.
so we know what we're doing this for. We know who we're doing this for. And so, if you take that with you every day in the markets, you're going to make the right choices. Not all the time, but most of the time. And
Real.
that's all you need. Risk the reward and make the right choices majority of the time, and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be okay. So, if you have another plan, then you're not gonna make those decisions. You're not gonna be disciplined. But for me, I don't have an option, and so it's that simple.
Mm, that's real. And
Yeah.
like, you've been doing this for a while. So tell me, what is the difference between traders who make it and the ones who wash out?
Mhm. Well, the ones that don't make it, they're part of that microwave society. We
Mm,
like hot pockets.
want it
We throw it
fast.
in. Yeah, y'all not about that home cooked crock pot meal. My wife made something in the crock pot the other week.
Mm,
It was with
that
some.
slow cooker.
Yeah, it was just some Jamaican curry and chicken, and man, that mug cooks for like a good 8 hours,
Yeah.
right? So the ones that wash out, they don't want that 8 hour meal. They want a hot pocket, and if you're looking for a hot pocket, you ain't gonna. This ain't out for you.
Right,
It's not
right.
for you. You're not gonna make it. Uh, and so I just think it's just your ability to overcome challenges and understanding that there is a process. You can't
Mhm.
cheat the process. You can't beat the process. Just join the process
Right.
and let everything happen that as it's supposed to happen. Um, and you're gonna grow along the way, but you have to just give yourself time to grow. Getting in here in 6 months expecting yourself to be making money and doing XYZ, that's not realistic.
Real.
And I don't care who tells you that they're making money in 6 months. Usually, no.
It's
Like
just being
seriously.
straight. It's just being straight real.
But yeah, and for me, I would say it's probably not until probably, so I guess this would be my 8th year of kind of being a trader.
Hmm.
I didn't really, for where I am now and my consistency that I see, I didn't hit that until year like 6.
Mm,
So you're telling me 6 months. I'm
right.
telling you 6 years. Right.
Man. So like
Exactly.
along that 6 years, tell me what books, courses, or resources had the biggest impact on your trading journey.
You want to know something? I'm not a big reader
Hmm.
of books.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did get a good one. Brother Carl again, shout out.
Right.
It's called An End to the Bull. You know that
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
That
was
was actually one of
that's
the
one
better
I
books.
got a digital copy. I got a
Yeah.
physical copy. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I got a few copies of that around the house.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
so that actually was a good one. But for the most part, I don't really read a lot of books like that. For me, it's so I'm a I'm a spiritual person, so for me, it's spending time in prayer and working on discipline
Mm-hmm.
and self control, and things like that, and just asking God to just give me the ability to make the right decisions when I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's really it for me. I don't really need to read all these books on everything. I want to write that book. Just based on the
Right.
things that I've learned. Now, not to say like those books don't help, you know.
Right.
Honestly, I don't even really have a whole lot of time to read.
Right. 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 And
I'll
it's
usually be
just the
listening to
reality
some
for some
podcasts.
for a lot.
Yeah, I'll be listening
Yeah.
to some podcasts and stuff, but a lot of stuff out there too. I don't agree with a lot of it. And I have so if there is a book I read, it, I'm very selective
Mm-hmm.
for the information that I read,
Mm-hmm.
and because you have to be mindful of who do you listen to,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I mean, that's kind of just my answer on that. Like, it's not that I'm like against reading, but if I do read a book, it's very it has to go through like the gauntlet of you know I have to do my due diligence. Who's this
Mm-hmm.
person? Because how many times do you see these people that say, "Oh, I make so much money trading," but really you make a lot of money through marketing.
Right. Right.
So say, "Oh, well, read this book," but like, how are you applying this? Like, does it really
Right.
work for you, or are you
Right.
just trying to sell books? You know. Um, and so, yeah, man, a lot of time in prayer and just working on myself because at the end of the day, no book is gonna give me the ability to truly unlock myself and
Mm-hmm.
uh, to operate at my full potential.
That's real.
You know,
And like that's real, man. Cause like talking about that, about the books and everything that help you in your journey. Another thing I wanted to touch on, a lot of traders don't do is journaling. How how important is journaling to your trades? Like what insights have you gained from keeping a trading journal?
if you're not journaling, you already failed
Mm.
because you have to learn from the past. You have to because for us, is we take a trade, we on to the next one. We take a trade, we on to the next one.
Right.
And so, just having a way of keeping track of what went good, what went bad, what do we need to scrap. And so for me, it's not also though, it's not so much about me journaling each and every single trade, but more so journaling uh my strategy. Like I've got thousands of pictures in my Discord. So I created a Discord, you've seen it. I created a Discord channel server
Mm-hmm.
and I have different categories. And each category is something to my trading model.
Right.
And so whenever the market prints it, I take a picture, I put it in my journal. I take a picture, I put it in my journal.
Nice.
And over time, I have created this library. And now, when I second guess my strategy, when I second guess my entries, I
Mm-hmm.
go back to that journal and I look at all the things at all the times the market did exactly what I expected it to do, how I wanted it to do it. And now it builds that belief that my
Mm.
system works. You just might have been trading uh, the wrong time. You
Mm-hmm.
might have been operating outside of your trading hours.
Mm.
You might have been, rushing the process a little bit for the
Mm-hmm.
day, right? It works. You just happen to be unlucky for whatever reason today.
Mm.
So that is why I journal. It's to have something to reference when I feel like, oh, this strategy's stupid, it's not working. No, it works. Go back. It works.
Right. Right.
So that's my key to journaling. But whether you journal your trades or you journal your strategy, journal something.
Real. Real.
Not having a journal is not an option.
And like we dealt with live accounts, we dealt with prop accounts.
Right.
But tell me, what is your view on demo trading versus live trading when it comes to refining your strategy?
Yeah, I got into this thing where if you trade a demo account, like you're not a legit trader,
Mm-hmm.
that's BS. Always keep a demo account in your back pocket.
Yep.
When I'm trading a real account and I already knew, hey, I already got slapped twice today, but I have to put in this trade. Go put that mug on the demo account. See
Yep.
what happens.
Yep.
Go for a 20 stamp. Do 5% if you want to. Go ahead.
Yep. Yep.
It's literally like it's an outlet for you to be able to not do the stupid thing on your real
Yeah.
account,
And then
right?
you want that feeling of
Exactly.
being right. Just stroke your ego with the demo account.
That part, you got it,
Yeah.
brother. That's
Yeah.
it. hmm and so we go ahead and we'll put it on that demo account, and then let's see. Now the girls are up.
For sure.
um, and then sometimes we're curious as traders,
Mm.
and so we just when I see something, oh, let me see if this works. Not like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm gonna completely change my strategy, but like, hey, I just saw a little nuance in the market. Let me see if that's something that I could use. So then we could throw that on the demo account, right?
Mhm.
And so, but you don't treat. Now I know I just said go throw 50 standards on that, but we should
Right.
treat a demo account the same way that we treat a live account. My coaches used to say I grew up playing sports. You practice like you play like you practice.
Uh-huh.
So if you got bad habits on your demo account, you're gonna have those bad habits in your live account as well. So
Mm.
so you know demo accounts when I'm trading them 1%. I always use a stop loss. Everything's the same. Then
Mm.
it just seamlessly transfers over to the real account. All right, but yeah, if you trade demo, it's okay. You're
Mm.
still a real trader.
And so I know with all that being said, man, trading gets heavy. And what's your reset button? What grounds you when trading gets heavy?
Just not making trading everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got a whole family. I got kids. I got a
Mm-hmm.
whole other business that I'm building. I got a church ministry that I help with.
Mm-hmm.
So trading is just a very small part of me.
Right.
And so I think when we, put too much focus and emphasis on it, then it becomes too much.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we do feel that pressure. We do feel that burden. We do feel
Yeah.
that weight. But hey, unplug. During agent session, I'm not looking at my charts.
Hmm.
I look at my chart. I don't even trade London unless
Hmm.
there's like a news push. I'm sleeping through that mug. New York. Check out New York. Let's see what happens in New York. Right? London takes liquidity. New York's a continuation. Right? We already know it.
I wanted to ask you, what's something people would be surprised to learn about you outside of trading?
Wow. Something that people would be surprised to know about me. I have 5 children. That's
Family man.
yeah, fairly, man. Yeah, I mean, what, I'm 34, and so having 5 kids is kind of crazy. I think at 34. um, and so yeah, just I'm a family man. Um, that's really that's the biggest ministry. I talk about. I feel there are other ministry areas that I want to focus on down the line, but that's the biggest thing is family, and
Right.
this grind, this hustle. It really is for the family. And so it might seem like I'm all about trading and building things, but really we have 7 people in this family that are waiting to reap the benefits of what I'm working on. So that's my biggest thing.
Word up. Now, like, let's talk about your broader insights on the industry. What are your thoughts on the current state of the market? Like, where do you see trading opportunities today?
Yeah, I mean, my first love has always been Forex, and so that's just what I do, that's what I
Uh-huh.
focus on. But I mean, there's so many different avenues. Now that you got crypto and you got futures, and so trading is definitely here to stay. And even, I was talking to somebody the other day. It's kind of crazy, but one thing I've been thinking about day to day is what if they introduce a one world currency?
Mm. Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And so, I've just been kind of, doing some research. I'm like, wait, so would I not be able to trade Forex or whatever? But, they're always going to be able to trade something. And
Right.
I think that's kind of a concern for me, I guess.
I think there'll always be like a leading currency, but
Right.
is everybody that have their own thing is like a fail safe.
Exactly. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, sorry, was that it?
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and like somebody like you know, you trade futures,
Uh huh.
and futures is not going to go anywhere because you can do, you know, you can trade cattle, you can trade grain, you can
Right.
do all those things. I mean,
Man,
those aren't
I
going
was listening
anywhere.
to another friend's podcast the other day, and the guy had went into detail about how he trades corn, and it
Okay.
was it was just so interesting, and like he actually just scalps corn. Corn might move, 4 or 5 ticks at a time, but all he's looking to get is like 2 3 ticks out of corn. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a market for everybody, even if you just want to do something that simple. You trade one instrument, and like you said, it moves a couple ticks. You go ahead and you snap it and call it a day, and you're done. So I'm hoping nothing ever happens to Forex because, like I said, I'm working on automating it. I met with my developer on Monday, and things are getting coded right now, so I'm super excited about that. And but I just think for me, yeah, everything is just going to be automated, whatever we
Mm,
do. Because I remember ICT was telling me, well, telling us, that you're not a professional trader to sit at your desk all day.
mm,
And you remember me voicing that, that's been my biggest frustration is that I haven't really had the time to sit and trade and, be immersed
lock
in
in.
trading because I
Right.
just don't have that with my life, like my family life and everything that it entails. And so I think that's true.
Right.
I think we're moving into a season of trading where, or I guess a phase of trading where you can just basically automate everything. The
Mm,
strategy that's in your head, you can get somebody to code that. I was talking to my developer. He said that because I was talking to him about just AI and how people are I saw something on Watson X and
mm-hmm.
how the developers are starting to use AI to code. And he said, yeah, it's called vibe coding. So you literally can just talk to the AI in English and it'll code it in English. And then now they're working on other different things. So you can just literally tell it what you wanted to code and it'll give you the script and everything. It's really crazy where we're heading. And so I think whatever market you want to trade, I think down the line, you're just going to be able to automate it.
Right.
And I don't think it's going to be something that we used to think about. I think what 10 years ago, people probably were thinking about automating trading, and it was just kind of like a very daunting aspect. But I
Mm.
think nowadays, with all the tools at our disposal, I mean, you got, Carl, I was talking to him. He's got all these AI agents that literally talk to each other inside a platform. So I think it's really crazy. So I think like we say, if there's a one world currency, if that happens in 10 years of whatever, there's always going to be something to trade.
Yeah.
Because and that's why just understanding how to read a chart and how to do your analysis is so important and understanding order flow and everything like that. Because once you know how to read one chart, whether you start with Forex, you start with futures, you start with just trading commodities, it doesn't matter. You're
Mm-hmm.
able to trade whatever, whenever. So, us traders, we're always going to be in business.
Mm.
It is, we might have to change our instrument,
Word
but
up. Word
that's
up.
relative.
And a lot of what you trade on forex can be traded in futures, and
Yeah.
futures has a lot more data than forex because the data that goes to for forex to function comes from futures.
Mm.
You
So,
know
my
what I'm
only
saying?
question about that,
Huh?
how's the liquidity?
I mean, liquidity is the same thing. It's
It's the
just it's just
same?
you have more data to be able to look at for whatever item that you're comparing. So you can see every single order placed at every single price level. So you
Right.
can see the candle being created before it's even created.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I
So
remember we were talking to Ghost. I think you were on that call too. We had a call with Carl and Ghost, and he was going, because, he trades futures.
right.
And did Ghost get you into futures?
Right.
Or did
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, I do remember he was going, like over the depth of market and stuff like that, and using, like you said, data and using volume essentially to place his trades. So that'd be
Right.
very interesting. I haven't ruled it out, but I'm set in my ways.
So, how do you think that trading has evolved over the years, and how do you see it changing in the next decade?
Oh yeah, I mean, evolving when I first started, what it was MetaTrader 4,
Right.
and then now we have MetaTrader 5, and we have TradingView, we have Trade Locker, we have all these things, and actually it's kind of crazy because I kind of ran into a situation with these prop firms that I am working with. It's like since the whole fallout, I guess it was about a year ago, where so many firms just stopped, working with people from the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was working with 5%ers and some other firms, and they're just like, "Yep, sorry, we
Right.
can't be
Because the
friends
U.S.
anymore."
regulation. Yep.
Yeah, it's so crazy. They make it so difficult, and so and the biggest thing I've been seeing, the most difficult thing is if they work with people in the US, you have to use a platform that you know nothing about.
Right.
For me, it's always been MetaTrader 4, and now I don't even remember the last time I placed a trade in MetaTrader 4. So I use MetaTrader 5. Even the things that I'm getting coded are
Hmm.
going to be on MetaTrader 5 because it's just, it's just like the original pot, like it's the goat, right?
Right. Right.
For everything, frustrated, and so it's been very frustrating. But now I'm learning about that they have these services. Excuse, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I had to sneeze real quick.
Bless you.
Yeah, so they have these services that actually allow you to trade across multiple platforms.
Yep.
So I can have MetaTrader 4, well, in my case, it's MetaTrader 5,
Hmm.
and I can hook up a platform that is using CTrader. I can hook up a platform that is using TradeLocker. I can hook up a platform that's using MassTrader. And when I execute a trade in MetaTrader, it will actually execute that same trade across all the different accounts, which I think is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I kind of was like discouraged. I was like, man, I really,
It's like some type of API coding.
right, exactly.
Nice.
And yeah, you just plug into the API.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I was really kind of like just really bummed out because I was like, I mean, there's still some firms like, oh gosh, that 5%ers, what is it? It's high stakes. Man, that thing is so sweet.
Mm.
You just scale up. I think it's like 10 phases, and then before you know it, you're at a couple million, and then they're giving you a $10,000 a month bonus on top of whatever, on top of the 100% profits. Basically, you just keep 100% because at that point they're just copying your trades, and they're like, oh
Right.
wow, he's scaled the whole thing. And man, when I tell you, I was so hurt when I figured out to find out that they're not trading with US clients anymore. So I'm hoping like they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then especially now, even if they say you have to use a mass trader or seat trader, that's cool because we just adapt. And so that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing I've seen is the technology is amazing. Even back testing tools are super cool. There's a software that we use that one of my business partners and I use for back testing. It's called TradeZilla,
Hmm.
and it's actually you just go back to a place and time and place, and it's actually like you're on TradingView and you're watching price, and it actually is really cool just for backtesting your system. It's fast, efficient, so stuff like that I think is so crazy, and I just think you know for me when I first started, I think it looked like trading was kind of like stagnant as far as technology, and then
Hmm.
now is just like booming. There's a new company coming out. There's things out there that you can copy trades to, like you can go on Telegram and it'll copy trades from Telegram. Like it's really crazy. And so
Mm,
I think in 10 years, man, we I don't think I mean, I'd say probably a decade, 15 years from now, I really don't think people are gonna be trading like that.
right.
I just think everything's just gonna be seamlessly integrated to other systems, and you just got basically AI is just gonna be doing it. It's gonna be doing it way better than we can because it's not emotional. It's not greedy. It's rules based. We break rules. Our softwares can't.
Right.
And so I really do think that a lot of traders are going to be able to do what we set out to do, and that's just make money and spend the rest of our time doing the things that we want to do.
And
Go ahead.
I'm kind of on the fence about that because I was talking to another fellow and he was saying, yeah, yeah, things are going to evolve to AI, this and that. But I mean, you can't have a bot trading unless you got a human that's programming it. So there's always that human element there. You know what I mean? So I think that even as we evolve and there's more bots in the game, you'll still have manual traders and you'll still have, regular traders hybrid traders who are kind of shifting back and forth between it all. But overall, it's still human emotion that's moving the market. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. Yes, and I mean for me, I was telling you, it took me a very long time to actually go this route of being like, there's so much in my head that would need to get coded for the strategy, yada yada. And I finally am here now, but I love to manual trade as well. That's all. I'll probably always have an account that I just do my own thing on. But you know what? This week we're gonna go. The family. We're gonna just go all week. 2 weeks actually. We're gonna go and travel. I don't feel
Yeah.
like manual trading today, but just
You just let
understanding,
it do its
knowing
thing.
that everything's taken care of. I don't have
Right.
to do anything. All my stuff is up on the cloud, so it's always on unless there's like a blackout, whatever.
Mm.
But I don't have to trade these next 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and everything's good. I'm still making money. You know, so that's the other aspect. But yes, I do think people are stuck in their ways, and like I love doing the analysis. I love placing trades, but the times where I don't feel like it, I won't do it. 'Cause if I would take 6 months and not place one manual trade, I'll take 6 months and not place one manual trade, but
Right.
everything else is in the background working.
So, what are some common misconceptions about day trading that you think should be cleared up?
That you have to trade every day.
Word, word. Yep, yep.
I'm really and that's why like I had to learn this lesson is just because the market's moving, you don't have to trade.
Word,
And that's what I love about what Carl is doing with his stuff is Carl's manager literally like, yeah, once I do 2% a day, I'm done. The thing won't let me put any more trades in. Once I do X amount of percent for the week, I'm done. Once I do X amount of percent for the month, I'm done.
word.
Is you don't always have to be trading. And so, and even with the thing that I'm getting coded right now, it's so strict on rules and it has the entry mechanisms and what it looks for is very specific
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not going to be getting. Let's say I throw it on your USD. I'm not going to be getting like 20 signals a week.
Mm,
I'll probably get, I don't know, depending on the time frame, I might get like 5 or something.
mm-hmm.
But just because I don't need to be trading that much, I don't need to be taking everything. So it's coded in a way that is very precise and it's something that only happens every so often. It's not all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of my way of like, if I don't get the signal, I don't trade, right?
Right.
And so that's the first misconception. Second misconception. Oh, here come these messages. Jeez, it always does that. The second misconception I would say is people really do think you can just get in here and just make a boatload of money,
Mm.
like off the rip,
Mm-hmm.
because it's what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see all these influencers, all these content creators, that are traders. But something I had to learn is a lot of these people that do have all these fancy cars and huge followings, like they're marketers.
Yeah.
They trade second.
Right.
So not that they can't trade, but they're probably making millions on the marketing side.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know what they're doing on trading. And so I think there's just this sense of like, yeah, I can just get in here and overnight I can just become this overnight success and have all the cars and all the things that come with being a highly successful trader. And that's
Yeah.
just not the case.
And
I
I
think
and I feel like that thought process has really tainted the game, man, because you have brand new traders coming into the space, and then 3 months in, they already trying to offer courses or train people, and you
crazy.
ain't got enough skin in the game, man.
Not even. Not even.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what I appreciate what you're doing too, is like having something like this, it's authentic. You hear, from people that have been there,
right,
that are right where they're gonna be, and as far as everything is considered, and they're kind of tell you like, what have I learned so that you don't make the same mistakes, you
mm,
know, so that
right,
you don't go down the same path and have the same beliefs and everything. So I applaud you on this because I wish there were more podcasts like this when I first started, because it would have helped me to not do a lot of silly things that I
right,
did.
right. And like it's speaking of that, man, because a lot of new people are tuning in, and I wanted to make this a space where different walks of life are talking about their trading journey, so that people can get that common thread. So like, what advice would you give someone that's just starting their day trading journey? They're just starting and don't know anything.
That don't know anything. Definitely, first things first. Always study more than you trade.
Right.
That's like rule number one.
Mm.
You're not you're not just on these charts trading 10 hours a day, but you're studying for 30 minutes.
Mm.
We talked we obviously talked about the importance of journaling. And like if you were to look at my journals, like I've got thousands of pictures and snapshots of just things that I see in the market
Right.
and just different things I've been working on. And now I've been able to dial it down. My journal is
Mm.
very minimal because I only look for like three things when it comes to
Right.
my trading, right?
And like you not only want to journal what you see in the market, but also what you notice about yourself too.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah. Cause I
absolutely.
started I when I started journaling my emotions a lot and how I felt in the moment. And that changed a lot.
Mm, that's really good too. Yeah,
Right.
how you felt and um, like kind of your thought process for the setup, and even I'll journal failed trades too.
Right.
I have a
Right.
section where it's called failed trades.
Right.
I'm
And you
sorry, guys.
you
I
have
had
to,
a
because you have to go back and look at why that was a failure and what you could have did to correct it.
right, exactly. Uh, Sorry, Data. I think one of my friends had a baby, and so I'm trying to figure out how I can mute mute my MacBook so that these messages can stop coming in, because I know not
Oh,
that's
that's all good.
distracting and whatnot. Yeah, so journaling is huge, and then also I would say risk management is everything.
Uh-huh.
That if you the goal is for you to literally throughout your trading career use the same risk no
Uh-huh.
matter what. And you also need to learn that the more money that you have, the less risk you use.
Mm-hmm.
Because what? We used to think the less money we had, the more risk we would use. So if you have, a $10,000 account, let's use like 10% risk because we can grow that money faster. Well, now you got to think opposite. It's the more money you have, the less risk you have. So like if let's say you got I'm actually looking at a firm that allow you to scale up to 10 million.
Mm,
And they actually work with US customers still. So I'm super shout out to Lux Trading Firm.
dope.
They're out in London. But yeah, you can scale up to 10 million. Do you think it would be wise when you scale up to that 10 million that you are using a 1% risk? No.
Nah, it's not
You need to take
necessary.
quarter percent, even like way less risk,
Right,
right?
right.
Because now you got so much capital, a little move in the market, and you're in the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think that's super important that we understand that like risk is everything. What's that thing I used to say? It's yeah, trading money is made through nothing else other than being patient, also being patient and discipline.
Word up.
So you have to get those things out, and being disciplined is actually having that rule like, hey, I don't risk more than 1%, and every single trade I take, win or lose, is 1%. I don't
Mm-hmm.
lose, and I move it up to 3%. I don't win, and I move it up to 5%. It's 1% consistently, because what you're gonna see is, let's just say your system lets you win 30% of the time.
Hmm.
Let's say you're placing 10 trades and you're winning only 3 of them, but your risk to reward is 1 to 3. So you're risking $1,000 on a $100,000 account to make $3,000. You know that 30% accuracy that to you sucks will actually make you millions of dollars.
Hmm.
But you have to be consistent with the risk. You cannot change your risk whatsoever, because then it just throws all out the window. It
Right.
won't work. It's math based, and the numbers don't lie, right? And so those are the things that I've had to work on, and I feel have made the biggest impact on my trading.
Yep. So like what is one mistake that you see new traders making over and over again?
Oh man, I'll start with myself. I would say being greedy. Yeah, man.
Yep.
I remember one day I had like a couple $1,000s in an account, and I think I had like 7 grand in it or something like that. So more than a couple, but I was up. It had to been like 5 grand. Like so, how I did that? Terrible trading. This was a while ago, right? How you got $7,000 in there and you? But anyways, you learn and you grow. That's what
Right.
it's all about.
And that's exactly why I have two posters on my wall right above my trading desk. One says "fuck your daydreams." The other one says "close that shit, secure the bag."
Yes, that part. I need the posters too.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like how you almost doubled your account, man. But yeah, I've been like 5 grand, and I'm like, oh man, the market's gonna go over here. It's gonna go
Right.
right there,
Let
and,
me
and
get
I'm
just
gonna,
a
I'm
little
gonna make
more.
that 10,000. Yeah, I already did the pre-calculations and everything like that.
Right.
Multiply this by that number of people. Yeah, 10,000. That's what we're going. Man, when I tell you that thing came back, I made like $800.
Golly.
Cause greed, man, greed is
It's a
going to
motherfucker, man.
destroy everything you've worked for and that you've built. And
Man.
also chasing the market. Don't do it.
Right. Right.
Don't
Let it
do
come to
it.
you.
That's it. Like so for me, how I work is how my trading works now is once I get my alert to take a setup, if I'm not awake, it is what it is. I miss it. but that's why this is going to be automated soon, so I don't have to put. I gotta be asleep. I can do whatever.
Yeah.
I could be dancing in the rain. Still gonna be trading. you know. Um, but if I miss it, I miss it. That's it. And then I have a second way of entering, and that's just the optimal trade entry. Again, I'm not chasing the market. The market has to come to me. It has to break the market structure after my alert goes off for me that says, hey, so when the indicator's done, it'll say sell Euro USD.
Mm,
And it'll tell me the time frame that it's taking the trade off of.
word up.
And
And like,
so if I miss it, because you want to take it, you have within that hour to take it,
right,
right? Because then the risk to reward shrinks.
right.
Even when it's fully autonomous, like if anything over 30 pips, it's not going to take it because now I have to get a 1 to 3, I have to get 90 pips, right?
Mm,
Versus something that's, you know, 10, if it's 15 pips, I only have to get 45 pips to get a 1 to 3. So at a certain point in time, like I won't take trades because I'm like, well, my stop loss is like 40 pips. So I'm not trying to get a 1 to 1 out of this. It'll be a
right.
1 to 3. So I'm not, no, I'm okay. Pass. You're like, you're passing up money? I am. I
Oh, money
am.
ain't good money, man.
Yes, I am passing up money.
Man,
Because to me, it's not worth it. Because if, let's just say, it only goes down 40 pips and then comes back and ticks me out, whatever, and that's a 1 to 1. Or, I mean, I have the potential to do a 1 to 1 or just lose. So, no, just risk to reward everything. And so, but then once it breaks market structure, let's say I get a signal on the H1, breaks the market structure on the 15 minute, and it comes back and gives me the OTE, then I'll take that. If I miss that, well, guess we're just not trading today.
right.
That's it. So, discipline, patience, risk management, guys. That's gonna be the hardest thing for everybody. I don't care who you are.
Trill spill.
That's it, man.
So like this section that we're coming up, this section is sniper questions or rapid
Mhm.
fire questions. So I'm gonna ask you a question and you tell me off the top of your head the first answer that comes to mind.
Oh wow. Okay.
What is your go-to trading platform?
Trading view for analyzing
Mm,
MT5 for executions.
mm. Coffee or energy drinks?
Ooh, coffee all day.
What is your most underrated skill in trading?
My most underrated skill in trading. I'd say accuracy.
Mm. And what is your favorite book on trading?
And into the bowl. Thanks, Carl,
Mm.
for putting me on that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Definitely. Do you trade with music or in silence?
Both.
Mm. Best
And
stress
kids in the
reliever.
background too.
Oh, okay. Always right. And best stress reliever after a rough day.
Oh, some wine or some bourbon. Sometimes
Word.
tequila.
Nice, man. Hey, man. The Haitian Sniper has entered the chat, man, and it's been a wonderful conversation, brother. I really appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you, bro. This has been good. Yeah, and just props, man. This is amazing. I definitely, like I said, wish that there was something like this for me when I first started, of just people that are vets that have been there, that have done it, and just would have, you know, just guided me in the correct course. I mean, granted, I did get an awesome mentor, but that was years down the line.
Right,
And
right,
so this is amazing, and I hope that everybody that comes on here will have open ears and that they will hear the messages that you know you've that all these traders that you've interviewed are spitting out, because I think it's worth $1 million.
right,
Seriously, this is some good
right.
stuff. So I'm proud of you, brother.
Man, let them know where they can follow you at, man.
Oh man, for starters, I'm gonna have some new channels coming up here pretty soon, but you can follow me on the gram,
Uh-huh.
the Usman David Yokobonis. So that's DOSMANDAVIDYOKUBONIS. And then from there, you'll be able to follow me on the other things because, I got that link tree up and popping. So,
Word up.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's what that is. So, guys, thanks for tuning in to the NOFOMO podcast, where we discuss keeping it cool and adapting to today's ever-changing markets. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and don't miss out on the future drops. We've got plenty more insights coming your way. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and remember, when it comes to trading, the best mindset to have is no FOMO. Y'all be cool, and we'll catch you on the next one.